drips one into the night, deep into right, way
moves to the right, it goes directly to Clement. Clement reverses it, and the pass goes into the end zone.
To Nick Foles.
It's a touchdown by Nick.
He scores! Keith Primo is able to win it, and the Flyers win the championship.
Can he get it off? Yes! And the Sixers win it!
What is going on, everybody, and welcome to the bye week. Certainly nice to go into it with a big W, and always nice to go into it with my man, Joey K. Joey, how are we doing, pal?
Jakey B, what's going on, brother? Yeah, man, it's bye week. It's kind of one of those weeks that you don't really look forward to, but I think as you get older and you appreciate, what the Eagles are and what they're going to be, man, this bye week couldn't come at a better time. We need to heal up, man.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Luckily and thankfully, we heard Nick Sirianni say today that he expects Jason Kelce to be fine out of the bye. Expects him to go right back to the starting role. God knows we need it with that Nate Herbig's first snap he took, bombing it deep over my man Minshew's head. So it'd be great news to see him back. Still waiting to really hear a full breakdown on the injury for Miles Sanders, but looks like we might be able to make it out there with nothing too serious. When watching it live, it looked like it might be some pretty serious injuries out there. So definitely thankful about that.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the back of his ankle got rolled up on.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be honest with you, I've rolled my ankle where I was playing basketball and as I jumped, I came down and stepped on another person's foot and my ankle rolled. And you would have thought I was shot with a bazooka in my leg. It hurt that bad. So I'm thinking that the initial reaction of that shock of pain was just like, oh my God. But then, we get 2 weeks to heal it up, ice rest, all the trainers, everything, get on him. I think he'll be all right. Sirianni didn't seem too pressed about that either.
No, it seemed like he was like, look, he's definitely banged up. Like we said last episode, all season long, players are playing hurt. It's a matter of, are they playing injured? Yeah, they're feeling pain all season long. So hopefully it's a situation where he's able to rest up, hopefully get that pain management well under control. I'd love to see him come back pain-free, but at least in fighting shape. We all know he's one of the toughest SOBs out on the gridiron on any team. Shout out also to Jason Kelce for being nominated as the Eagles' Walter Payton Man of the Year. So giving it all on his field. I think he's at 199 consecutive starts. I know he's 190 something. I think it might be 199 consecutive starts. So certainly love to see him continue that streak. And we also know that he does wonderful things off the field, hence the Walter Payton Man of the Year nomination for the Eagles. So just a great honor for a great guy.
Absolutely. I couldn't think of a better guy to give the award to, honestly. We're biased because we're Philly fans, but we'd love to see him win the award. I know everybody that was nominated is definitely deserving. And look, at the end of the day, it comes down to you giving more of yourself and giving back to your community. So hats off to everybody that was nominated, but let's hope my boy Kelce gets it,
Oh, no doubt. And as we've been advertising all week, we're going to be taking callers all episode long. So link is posted in the description. Links posted on the Facebook, the Twitter. I was texting it out to people. If you have any questions or anything, I can put the link. Actually, let's go ahead.
And Jake, you know what? Not even questions. Like, if you want to get something off your chest, if you don't like what you've been hearing in the media, if you want to comment on the QB controversy, Ben Simmons, how terrible the Flyers are, John Middleton, the Phillies, if you don't like my beard, if you don't like Jake's beard, or just if you don't agree with anything we say, come on. Like, let's chat it up. Let's talk about it. We want to hear your opinions, and we'll tell you why you're wrong.
Exactly. Or we'll agree with you. Who knows?
Yeah, you never know.
We may not. So, yeah, you see the link there. Be sure to hop on in. We're going to be taking callers all episode long. Going to be a great show. Like he said, give your take on anything. On the Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, Flyers, Union. Heartbreaking loss in the semifinals of the MLS Cup there. So shame, but, definitely a positive light here in the city of Philadelphia with sports, where it's been a little bleak recently. Some highs, some lows, but they've been a very solid team here in the city. We're getting a lot of love for that Scoot shirt. Yeah, showing off those guns as always. Got the Philly 215 shirt. Oh yeah, love the shirt. Love
Mama
it.
K, she got
Mama
it for
K.
me.
Oh yeah, so definitely want to see a lot of people getting active in the show today. We only ask keep it PG-13. We'll say, just no Fs, no S's. Just keep PG-13. We'll have a good time and love to hear your takes. Good, bad, ugly, anything out there. Love to hear them. So let's get back into the game, and probably one of the most interesting points is the starting quarterback. What do you really think? What do you think? I know you're in the camp of one with Nick Sirianni. Once Jalen Hurts is healthy, it's completely back to his job. But does this kind of open the door for if there isn't a great series or two, or even a bad half, like we saw pretty much a year ago today, where Carson Wentz was pulled for his last game as an Eagle? Do you think there's going to be that clamoring for bringing Minshew?
Oh, there's always going to be clamoring. As long as we keep more than one QB on the roster, there's always going to be clamoring for whoever the other quarterback is. Look, I've been thinking about this all day, kind of, for a couple of days now, about what comparison I'm going to make, because I like to throw out analogies a lot of times and compare them, and thinking about this QB controversy, which I don't think there is one, and Sirianni said there wasn't. I mean, Jake, do you like Oreos?
Love Oreos.
Do you like chocolate covered Oreos?
Yeah.
But you love Oreos, right? They're good.
Yeah. Good cookie.
I love them too. When I eat them, I'm happy. They taste good. They're great.
I like when you're happy.
Thank you. Would you eat Oreos every day for dinner for the rest of your life?
No,
you wouldn't. Gardner Minshew is Oreos. I'm telling you that right now. He's good in spurts. When you have a small sample size of him, you appreciate him more. When you're able to have him after the main course, you appreciate him. When he could fill in for you when you're hungry and you have nothing else to eat, you appreciate that. But you're not going to have that every single day, every single week. You don't want to do that. And that's what we're talking about, sustainability. There are guys that can come in spot starts that are great at what they do. It's why the NBA has a 6-man award, because you're giving it to the guy that can come off the bench, do his job, win the second team.
It's a great point.
Play his role and be that guy. But have you ever seen when a 6-man starts and you're like, oh, why isn't he averaging 22 points and 8 assists anymore? Why? Because that's not his role. Everybody on a team in sports has a role. Minshew's role is to be a backup spot starter, come in, spark the team, give a different look. And guys, I'll be honest with you. If Minshew had the personality of a Joe Flacco or of like a Case Keenum, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The guy's a marketing genius. He markets himself with the short shorts, with the mustache, the personality, the quotes. He's one of the most likable guys you'll ever be around. So when he's likable, you're going to gravitate toward him. You're going to want to root for him. And then you're going to want to see him succeed. But you can see him succeed in his spurts for dessert every once in a while, but not every single day and not every single week.
Well, speaking of desserts, we have a real treat here. We're on to our first caller here. Moon Joey, welcome to the Talking 215 show.
HELL space YEA.
Happy to have you on. How we doing?
Hey, Moon Joey, you there?
Yeah,
there we go.
Hear you. Can you hear me?
Mike is unmuted perfectly.
I can hear you.
So
welcome to the show.
I had a question for you, both of you. How about doing your pod live during an Eagles game so we can get live commentary on what's happening?
I'm all about it. I'm all about
Jake,
it.
Can I take this one?
I know it's a little tough for you, but I'm all about it. I'm going to crack into this.
First of all, Moon Joey is my dad. Shout out my dad. Pop's calling into the show. And I think that's a trick question because he knows how I am during games. And Jake said we're trying to keep it PG-13. And the sponsors that we have lined up, I'm pretty sure would either drop us or not approve. Dad, you know more than anybody how I get during the game. So I don't think that'd be good for me. Jake, would you like to do that?
I mean, shoot, I'd have fun. I'd have a lot of fun. It's tough.
Mute Joey's mic. That's all.
Yeah, I'll just sit there with my
he's-
face looking
he's-
angry. Yeah,
He's
you don't
bringing
have
the
to
knowledge.
really.
He's bringing the heat. So
Yeah,
no, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I know it's tough for you. You're watching a lot of the games at the bar, not being local to the area, but I think it'd be fun. Or even if we get a situation where we can do, pull up some of our favorite plays and just break them down, not in as much of an X's and O's standpoint. Obviously, still doing the old Coach Joey breakdowns, but just something kind of, a satirical, funny commentary, because God knows these Fox and CBS announcers the last 2 weeks have been terrible. Mispronouncing names, just calling Jordan Mailata 6'5", 325. He hasn't been that since he was about 12.
yeah.
Well, how about
Absolutely.
time analysis? That would give Joey a little bit of time to calm down.
A little bit, but I mean, look, Dad, if Moonjo, if the Eagles keep playing the way they're playing, like if they keep trending upward and they're able to take care of this 4-game slate, maybe I can do it. I just know this team and how they like to let me down 24/7, or it seems a lot more than often. So it would be very tough for me to comment, but if I did, I think I would want to do it during like the Giants game or earlier this year against the Lions, or, going into the Jets games that I think that the Eagles are absolutely going to win. I think I have a better chance of maybe doing the live commentary on that one.
Okay.
Jake, you're muted, Bubba.
There we go. How we sounding now?
Sounding good.
So
Sounding
much
good.
better. So much better. All right. Well, Papa K, pleasure to have you on. We do want to finish all of our calls with, we would love to know your favorite Christmas movie and what Eagle, it can be any Eagle of all time, would you want at your Christmas party?
Oh, my goodness. I can't think straight. I will say this, though. A little history about myself. I was at the actual throw snowballs at Santa Claus game.
Oh, we got now. And we need you to break this down a little bit. I know we have a few callers lined up, but I need to hear a little more about this.
Well, it was at Franklin Field, cold, miserable stadium with wooden hard seats. There was snow everywhere. It was freezing. And as usual, the Eagles were getting trounced.
I don't believe that.
And so I think they weren't in the mood to be trying to be cheered up by something else other than the game. So, he ran for cover. And actually, they've done that a couple more times later in that season. No one knows that. So
it became like a tradition.
Am I wrong? I heard a story that they had like a real professional, Santa Claus coming out there to go around the stadium, and for one reason or another, I don't know if he got sick or anything, that he wasn't able to do it, and that they pulled just some drunken schmuck out of the stands and put him on, and he was in some $5 Kmart Santa costume.
I don't think it would have mattered.
But is and that's maybe the reason why they were throwing it at him. Like, I don't know. Like I tend to believe that they just had some string bean out there in some $5 Santa costume flipping off the crowd.
Dad, I'm also wondering, were you one of the ones throwing snowballs?
No, actually, it was on the field opposite from me. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, again, before we let you go, just give me your all-time favorite Christmas movie, and then one Eagle from any era that you would invite to a Christmas party.
Well, I guess I don't know, Home Alone. I guess because that's the way I feel when I'm watching football. My all-time favorite Eagle actually is someone you may not know, Harry the Horse Morgan.
Harry the Horse Morgan. I don't know if I've ever heard that, but I'll tell you what, we're doing a contest where we pick the best combo of these two, and that may be one of the only Harry the Horse Morgan.
That will be the only Harry the Horse Morgan.
Yeah. So Home Alone and Harry the Horse Morgan is your combo. Moonjoy, we appreciate the call. Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it, Dad.
Oh, yeah.
Good show, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Jake, you got to admit, as much as you know the Eagles, as much as I know the Eagles, I mean, and this is the man that raised me, I've never heard of Harry the Horse Morgan.
I can't say I have either.
But I think I got to get a jersey now.
Either. Oh, no kidding. Harry the Horse Morgan. Harry Morgan. He actually owned a horse.
Well, there you go. Was that where the nickname came from?
Possibly.
Does it say what position he played, or
a
5'8" offensive lineman?
I'm looking. Bear with me here. Harry Morgan, Eagles. I'm gonna be honest. I found a Harry the Horse Morgan, a guy that owned a horse. I can't find any Harry Morgan football player.
Is it Harold Morgan?
It could be Harold Morgan. We'll definitely have to look into this.
Yeah, we'll have to look that up
because I can't find any Harold Morgan, Harry Morgan, Hank Morgan, and no horses either. But we'll definitely have to look into that. And it's a pretty awesome story when you get people calling in that were at that game. I'm going to stick by that it was just some schmuck, and that's the only reason they did it. And it's continuing to be a national narrative. That's why Philadelphia fans are terrible. But I know we have somebody here that's calling in that has a lot of takes probably on that and a whole lot more. Why don't we just go right over to our boy Jason in Northwest Philly, if I am not mistaken. Jason rocking a familiar jersey.
Love it.
There it is.
Love
there
it.
it is, guys, in the flesh.
Oh, gorgeous. Looks better on you than it ever did in my room there.
My God, I love this jersey.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It looks beautiful, man.
You're
love
beautiful
it. Asante Samuel, UCF's finest autographed jersey, the winner, Jason.
And he even liked your post.
Yeah, he retweeted it. He liked it. I think he liked you, man. I think he was liking you holding the jersey.
Hey, like I said, man, you guys are A-list in my book. I'm absolutely honored to be on this show. I've been wanting to come on for a while. I know we're going to do a Philly show, but when I heard about you guys doing this, I was like, I got to get on this because honestly, awesome idea, by the way. And your dad, that was a cool story. Honestly, Moon Joey, I mean, what? So cool, man.
Who would have thought he was at that game? I knew he was, but I mean, it's just kind of a cool story to bring up,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I just learned yesterday that Joey, was born in the same hospital I was born in. I had no idea. I never even know he'd been to Delaware. So
Jake, and my mom worked at that hospital in pediatrics, so she might have taken care of you when you were born. You never know.
Who knows? I was 2 months premature, so somebody was taking care of me.
There you go.
Oh yeah. Well, Jason, what are your thoughts on all this? I mean, I would love to just hear whatever you want to talk about, but I would love to hear your take on the Minshew Hurts camp and where you're pitching your tent in, along with whatever you want to talk about.
Well, it's funny because I kind of knew as soon as the whole game transpired and I knew you guys were already having this show, I was like, my God. I mean, we knew it was going to be like a podcaster's dream scenario. But if you want my honest take, first and foremost, I didn't get on early enough to hear your take, but I did hear Joey's, and I absolutely loved the Oreo conversation because honestly, I'm kind of pitching my tent in that same area. Obviously, everyone had to admire what Gardner Minshew brought, to the table as far as a little bit different style than Jalen Hurts. But to me, you guys know me, I'm a Jalen Hurts, if you want to call him truther. I love Jalen Hurts, and I'm the kind of guy that feels that this team has to give him every opportunity to succeed. With that being said, I think most of us will agree that the guy has still not really shown, the growth to the point where we're saying he's the long-term answer. I do think Gardner Minshew, what he did on the field Sunday, most definitely shortens Jalen Hurts' leash big time. Now, I'll preface that by saying I think it depends on Howie and Jeff Lurie, but knowing Howie and knowing his track record and how he actually he likes to kind of he hears the fan. And I know that fans are going to be, if Jalen Hurts struggles in the next game, I think, obviously you're going to have the camp that's like, come on, we want Minshew. Do I think it's actually a smart move? I mean, honestly, I think if you go to Hurt, to me, Hurts is your guy. I loved, Sirianni coming out Sunday and saying that. I was kind of thinking he might wait and kind of savor the win and then bring it up Monday, but I'm glad that he right away kind of did away with that quarterback controversy, because honestly, to me, the only one that can really create the quarterback controversy is the organization. Because remember, like
the true controversy, you're going to have sports media, especially if you tune on the radio station to anything, they're going to be creating a controversy the second that he completed his first pass. And then when he completed his next 10 to go 11 for 11 to start the game, that just really, really established the fact that they're like, okay, we've got 2 weeks to talk about this. And we were joking about it. We knew the second that he hit Goddard, especially Goddard, for that touchdown, if it was Goddard or Devontae Smith or Quez Watkins, anybody with Rager, really, they would have been like, oh, controversy. He's getting to the guys that Hurts isn't getting it to. And so I agree with you. The only real controversy can be in-house, but you're going to hear that narrative, like I said, the second that first pass was completed.
Oh, no, and that's a great point. That's kind of what I guess I didn't maybe say it the right way, that obviously there is a quote-unquote controversy, but I'm saying a real controversy, obviously, being that, if Sirianni didn't come out and say, if he kind of went the route, well, we'll have to see. But, he pretty much made it known, Hurts is our guy. And I do think we have to look at the fact that you don't want to alienate the locker room, because the locker room, obviously, Jalen Hurts is a great guy. Like, it's not just that, we sit here and say, oh, he's a good leader in the clubhouse. He's a great person. And I firmly believe that the team is behind him 100%. Like, regardless of how Minshew played. We're not talking about, scenarios that we've seen in the past, like with Wentz and Foles. And, we can go into how many, backup quarterbacks have been, revered in this town. You can go down the list.
A whole list.
All of them.
Rodney Peete, Jeff Garcia, pretty much.
People thought Kevin Cobb was going to be the next great quarterback here.
Yeah. So I do think it's important, though, because I think that the team, wants Hurts to succeed. And I think we all do, really. I don't think there's too many people out there that are that vicious of people. And maybe I'm thinking wrong because we're in Philly. But I'm just saying, like, why wouldn't you want Hurts to succeed? And to me, all this conversation about going out and trading, 3 picks and trying to go for a veteran quarterback, to me, it kind of doesn't make sense, at least to me. I don't
Jason,
know.
you had one. You had a veteran quarterback. So why are you going to waste 3 picks on trading for another one?
To me, and I hear the narrative, and I know there's a lot of people out there pushing for, like, my God, I want Russell Wilson here. Listen, if we could get Russell Wilson on the Eagles by giving up maybe a first rounder and then a next year's first, that's a different conversation. But I don't see that happening. Honestly, I think you're going to have to overpay to get anybody of that caliber.
Yeah, you're definitely going to have teams that are going to be willing to pony up for him. The Broncos come to mind. They've got a very good defense, a number of great skill position players. You're going to have a lot of teams that are going to be willing to pony up for him, even with Russell Wilson specifically struggling pretty greatly coming off of that finger injury. 34, he's got, if you're looking at just the average currently, looks like he'll probably have 4 more pretty high caliber years to be safe. Could go as high as 6, some people think. But Jason, would love to hear your favorite Christmas movie and the number 1 Eagle you would like to have join you on a Christmas party.
Well, I heard your dad's answer, Joey, and that was my answer.
Did he steal your player?
No, he stole my Christmas movie. Yeah.
Okay. You can use that too, because it's a combination of the two. So we could have Home Alone and Harry Morgan and Home Alone and somebody else.
I'm going to go a little outside the box because some people still don't really technically consider it a Christmas movie. But to me, it's one of my all-time favorite movies, let alone Christmas movies, and that's Die Hard.
Die Hard, yep.
Okay.
So that's my favorite Christmas movie. My favorite, obviously, I don't know what the question says. What Eagle would you want to join your party?
Your Christmas party.
I just didn't want to have it.
Your favorite Eagle of all time, right?
Oh, yeah. No.
Okay, because that's a little bit different. So my favorite Eagle of all time will always be Reggie White, but obviously he couldn't join my party. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
But my favorite Eagle to join my party would have to be Terrell Owens. Did you see him last night? Did you see him last night?
Yeah.
Rocking the sunglasses and the Santa hat and the Bills garb. Like, I mean, I just love the guy. I do. He's, I know a lot of people, criticized him for the way he kind of the situation. But to me, he's a fun guy.
Oh, yeah.
Die Hard and T.O. That's a combination that might be tough to beat.
No kidding. Well, Jason, thank you so much for hopping in.
Absolutely.
Definitely find him on social media. You can post it in the comments there. I'd love for everybody to follow you and all the great things that you're doing over there. And we're definitely still going to have you on for a nice full-length feature episode to talk a whole lot more Phillies, talk a little bit more about that wonderful jersey as you being our last giveaway winner, and just talk some sports, man. So pleasure to have you on.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Oh, yeah, guys. Thanks. Now he's always a real treat to have on, and he brings up some good points. I mean, the controversy, we knew it was going to be started as soon as they announced him as a starter. You were going to have some people, just at that moment saying that he was going to be the guy. Before I go to the next caller, you got anything specific you want to really touch on?
No, I like what Jason said. I mean, like, it doesn't make sense to waste 3 first-round picks on a veteran quarterback when, look, regardless of your thoughts on Carson Wentz, he was a veteran quarterback. So what are we kind of talking about here? We need Jalen Hurts to be good. If he's not, then all options are on the table between draft, trading, everything. So it's in our best interest for him to pan out.
Yeah, no kidding. Heading all the way up to the Mistake by the Lake, heading over to Ohio to talk to our man Sam. Sam, welcome to Talking 215. Are you there, buddy? Oh, Mike's muted. Let me unmute it there. No, still muted.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. Here we go. We got action.
Sam, what's up, brother?
Hey, gentlemen. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Lovely. Pleasure to have you on the show, pal.
What you want to talk about, man? What's on your mind?
I'm trying to find out how to get $1 million in fives and singles, no coins, and no kids involved in that scenario. It's been kind of hard.
Well, if you find that out, let us know for sure.
Yeah, be sure.
I'll invite you guys to a game. That's how we'll all know.
My man. So what are your thoughts?
My thoughts, as soon as we saw Gardner starting throwing that ball around, the first thing I thought was, we don't need a quarterback with a giant arm. We just need a quarterback with a decent arm. That's what it came down to, because Sirianni really did tailor the throws and all those offensive calls to. Nothing's hard. Get a little rub route and let a guy get spring free and just flick the ball over towards the pylon. I mean, Goddard scored twice.
Yeah.
These things aren't very hard to do if you just run the concept. But, again, it didn't come down to having a big arm. It came down to having a decent arm. And I think Hurts is, as you know, I'm a big fan of him, Jake. But I will criticize your throwing percentages. It's doo-doo. Excuse me, I know that we're not supposed to curse,
no, you're fine.
His throwing percentages, it's absolutely abysmal. I can't have you at 71 one day, then 52 at another. It drives me crazy.
Especially when you're only going to be having like 20 to 25 passes a game on a heavy passing game. You expect those. If you're going to go quality over quantity, then you're really going to need that quality. And you haven't seen it recently. You've seen incredible ability with his legs, but you haven't seen anything that really blows you away with his passing ability. There hasn't even been recently one of those extend the plays, hit Devontae Smith with a toe drag on the sideline catches. There really hasn't been a throw. There could have been if Jalen Reagor had caught either of those passes or Quez Watkins caught that pass that went right through his hands. There could have been, but it's tough. It's tough. You're really spot on with that.
And Jake, as you know, I do coach college prep, so I don't know enough, but I know a little bit to kind of just look at a guy and go, how can you not hit him? He's wide open. If you can't hit him, why are you on the field? Why are you on the field if you can't throw an out route? And you're trying to play for that next level, and these guys, they're playing for money. So, if you can't hit the guy, I don't want you on the team. I mean, it's kind of mean, I guess, but you're a grown adult.
Here's my question to you. Does it matter who he's hitting? Because a lot of people hated the fact that Jalen Reagor was the guy targeted on those two plays. They didn't care that he was open. They didn't care that hit him in his hands. But to me, I don't really care.
He was throwing to him all the time last year when he was on the field. Reagor was his guy.
You get a guy like Todd Pinkston out there getting passes his way. Don't give me crap when Jalen Reagor's catching balls too. Got all the alligator arms out there.
Exactly. Like, Hurts wants his teammates to succeed. He is not individualizing, he's not playing buddy ball like we see in basketball when you see two guys that they like throwing the ball to each other. In this case, Jalen gives the ball to whomever he can. And we've seen games with Smith going off for, his nice games. And you saw Ertz had his games and you see the running backs get involved. And it's all well and good. So Hurts doesn't have a bias into who he throws.
Hurts has a side of the field bias. Hurts throws to whoever he can that's on the right side of the field. Let's be honest with that. Like, he's rarely throwing the ball across his body. He's rarely throwing it over the center of the field. So he's throwing it to the right side of the field.
What does that come down to? He doesn't have enough arm strength to go across the field like that. And NFL-wise, I don't think he has the strength to go across his body from one side.
I think he probably, if we're going like that, though, I think he probably has a better arm than Gardner Minshew. Not necessarily touch and accuracy, but as arm strength goes, I think he can probably throw a faster, deeper ball than Gardner Minshew. Doesn't mean he's better; it just means that.
And look, I'll be honest. When it comes to arm strength, I think one thing we as fans tend to not understand is that 95% of the quarterbacks in this league can throw 60 to 70 yards if they're untouched, just standing still and launching it. We may not think of that, but they absolutely can. You can look up any video of somebody pregame at the stadium or in a dome with no rush, goofing off, and just launching the ball. The difference is, can you do it at different angles? Can you do it with pressure? Can you do it rolling to one side versus the other?
Can you do it off your on balance?
Off platform, on balance. So that's why we always think of guys like Josh Allen and Pat Mahomes of having the strongest arms, because they could do it from those platforms and angles. But
you can do a sidearm. They can, exactly.
Yeah, everybody can make those throws. It's just, does your offense allow you to be in phase in your quarterback mechanisms to make those throws?
Oh yeah, a huge difference between a deep ball and arm strength. 100%. Wonderfully explained by Joey there. So Sam, favorite Christmas movie in any Eagle of all time? I know Jason thought it was just living Eagles, but it can be any Eagle of all time, living or dead, that you would like to have you join your Christmas party.
All right, let's give this a thought. So I'm a big Brian Dawkins fan, but I don't know if he's the type of guy to party. So
I'd have him there if I knew Weapon X was coming out, but he said he left that out on the field.
Yeah, and that's slightly disappointing. But I'm just trying to think to all the characters we've had over the years, and the characters in a good way. I think Terrell Owens would be. I'm going to go with Jason. T.O.
Going with T.O. And then you got a movie?
I tweet with him on Twitter, so and I'm going to go with Home Alone, to be honest with you. Like, there's not really any other Christmas movie like that.
Another Home Alone and go Home Alone and T.O. I like it. Well, Sam, we love the support that you always show us. Love that you're able to hop on, give us your take. You really had some really good points there. So, be sure to continue to tune in. Got a lot of fun stuff on the horizon, but really appreciate the time.
I appreciate you both and enjoy your time during this holiday season.
Oh, yeah. Merry Christmas, brother.
Merry Christmas.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've got them lining up here. So what are your thoughts on just hopping right into the next one?
Let's do it. All
right. My apologies if I mispronounce it. Talking 215 welcomes Moray, your mic. Oh, there we go.
It's Maury.
Oh, hi, Maury.
Povich.
Hey, we had Papa K on. Now we got Mama B on.
Yeah, you do.
Mama B, welcome to the show. Let's shout out Jake Elliott, your favorite Eagle of all time. Mama B was notorious to say, even last year, Jake Elliott's mom was not proud of him.
It's true.
Harsh,
it's
Mama
true.
B.
It's true.
Currently the number one
I'm
kicker
coming
in the
around.
NFC.
I'm coming around.
Oh, I like that. I'm glad.
Yeah.
She just doesn't believe kickers are real football players.
Well, in fantasy world, they probably shouldn't be in the game, but in the NFL, they're extremely valuable. Well, Mama B, Papa B, welcome to Talking 2 and 5. What are your thoughts?
Wait, you're the one who jumped in.
Oh, no, we were just having fun with your question. Our favorite Christmas movie and what Eagle would join the party.
Perfect.
Yeah, go for it.
Perfect. You can give one answer or you both can give an answer.
Oh, well, Ernest Saves Christmas, which actually we were watching before we jumped into your show. It's a classic.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's so bad, it's good.
it is so bad. It's so bad. But it's good. But it's the only Christmas movie I could get him to watch.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah. And he was going to say Tim Houck, but then he switched to Chuck Bednarik when you said it could be someone who's not alive anymore.
Oh, yeah. Concrete Charlie would definitely be a
That's what
party
he said,
man.
Concrete Charlie. It's like you guys think the same thing.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Wow, that would happen like that.
It's
know.
really crazy.
Although they say
Yeah.
that Tommy McDonald was a wild man too.
Yeah, I believe it. We'll have to ask Ray about that when we get him on the show.
That's a good combo right there.
Ernest Saves Christmas and Chuck
Ernest and
Bednarik.
Bednarik. That's we may not see that replicated.
No,
I think you're
certainly-
probably right.
Certainly not seeing Harry the horse.
The horse. Yeah, we're not gonna see that one either.
I'm not seeing that one again. And Ernest and Bednarik might see a Bednarik sighting again, but I doubt the honest Ernest. So yeah, thank you for calling in. Appreciate your answers.
Now
Go Jake Elliott, Pro Bowl, All Pro kicker right now.
Yeah.
the Ted Danson movie, the trash picking, football kicking movie.
Tony Danza.
Yeah, that had nothing to do with Christmas, did it?
I don't think it did, but I don't know if I've
It
ever
does in
seen
your
it.
heart if you want it to.
There you go.
I don't think that's how it works.
I just remember the scene in the bar where Jeff Lurie is like some schmuck in the bar. He's like, that new Eagles owner is a really good guy.
I have not seen that, but now I might have to check it out if that scene
Yeah,
exists.
starring old Jeff Lurie in it.
He produced it.
There it
Oh,
is.
God.
Well, Merry Christmas, guys. Great show.
Merry Christmas. Thanks for calling in.
Merry Christmas, guys. Thanks.
I'll see ya.
Ernest and Bednarik. We're getting all the family in here.
Little throwback there. I like it.
Oh yeah. Well, let's go right over to Birdo. Birdo, welcome to Talking 2 and 5. How are you?
What's going on, fellas? Let me apologize ahead of time. I'm a little congested. I'm a little sick, but I wanted to call in.
Well, hey, prayers out to you, Birdo. Hoping you feel 100% in the morning.
You sound like you're faking it, Berto. Is everything okay?
Everything's okay. I just want to say that Scooter McGilly definitely has a face for radio. You are one of the ugliest human beings I've ever seen in my life.
I appreciate it, bro.
All right.
What I look, man. I know. I follow you on Twitter. Obviously, we're boys. I know you have some loud opinions. And one of the things we were talking about earlier on this show was the quote unquote QB controversy, which I know doesn't exist. What do you want to get off your chest, or what do you want to talk about?
Look, man, this is all I'm gonna say about this because I don't even listen to Philly sports radio anymore. I used to be a big advocate for it. I used to turn it on my commute rides all the time. Turn it up, listen to Rob Ellis, all those guys. But it has gotten so bad that I can't even listen to any of the stations anymore. I just listen to the podcast and I listen to different opinions, and I agree with some, I disagree with others.
That's
but
fine.
This whole Minshew mania thing, and you know what? I'm taking it personal because I kind of trolled Jaguar fans with it back when it first came about. I was hard on my Jaguar friends. I'm like, Minshew mania, baby, let's go, Minshew mania. Little did I know it was gonna come back around on me. Now listen,
look, he's got a higher QBR than Tom Brady, so that's all I gotta say.
Yeah, that's all great. That's all great and dandy. I'm not here to bash Minshew. I like Minshew. I like his persona. I like what he brings to the table. But let's not act like those 2 or 3 floating balls that he put up there that were accurately timed, but let's call them what they were. They floated up there. And if Goddard wasn't as wide open as he was, they would have been going the other way. Let's just be honest. Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
Perfectly timed. It was great. Cool. But let's not act like he was out there like Mahomes just slinging that thing, hitting guys in stride. Goddard slowed down for both of them. Let's be real.
No, they were floaters for sure.
Let's be real. They were 30-yard passes that Goddard had to slow down for. But he did his job. He did his job as the backup QB. He came in and handled business. Now, he's not the greatest backup QB of all time. We all know who that is. But, he did his job, and I commend him for that. But this whole year has been about the Jalen Hurts evaluation. Do we have a franchise quarterback? I don't know yet. And I'm a big Jalen Hurts supporter. I love what he brings to the table. He hasn't convinced me yet, 100%. Now, these next 4 games are, I even tweeted that out. These next 4 games are going to say a lot about who Jalen Hurts is. Now, I'm not going to say if we lose all 4 or if we win all 4, he's definitely the guy. It's all going to depend on how he plays. But if he can get us into the playoffs with good quarterback play, I mean, you got to give the guy a chance for next year. What do you guys think?
Spot on.
Look, if he gets us in the playoffs and he gets his, let's not even go his season total average completion percentage. If he finishes these last 4 games with above 63% and he gets us into playoffs, I don't think there's any reason why you can't give him another year.
I mean, what quarterback would lead his team to the playoffs and not be around next year? If you really think about that,
Tim Tebow.
Yeah, Tebow is a good way to put it. But no, realistically, what young quarterback nowadays, if you have a young quarterback, 25 or under, that leads his team to the playoffs with a rookie head coach, rookie offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator, rookie number 1 target. I mean, look at all these things we're talking about here. If that quarterback leads you to the playoffs, what else could you ask from the quarterback position? I think Berto makes a good point. Like, you don't.
I mean, more accuracy.
You don't need
better
to be
decision making.
Yeah, like so if he's playing the quarterback position the right way, which is doing everything he can to get the win, then, like we talked earlier in the pod, it's in the best interest of the Eagles for Jalen Hurts to work out. It really is.
Yep, and I've been an Eagles fan my entire life, and I can tell my
HELL space
I'm 37
YEA.
years old. I can tell the fans that have actually witnessed quarterback development before. I was there for McNabb. I know how bad he was early on, and I'm talking about bad. Now, mind you, I was like, 14, 15, 16 years old. I understand more now than I did then, but back then I was like, oh man, this guy is just hard. Like, I can't even watch this. But second year, he was in the year MVP race. Yeah. And then he just started getting better and better. Took us to the Super Bowl in 2004. Eventually he got cooked and I turned my back on him, but I do that.
But he was cooked. And McNabb's a great comparison because McNabb, when he was real young, he started extremely athletic.
Yep.
He developed into a guy with an absolute cannon of an arm, sometimes too strong of a throw.
And he ran all the time, and got us to the NFC Championship game running the ball. Beat the Bears running the ball.
McNabb was a one-read guy early on. If he didn't see it, he's gone. He's taken off.
Absolutely.
He was just lucky enough to have a top 5 defense behind him that would get him the ball multiple times a game to where, he could put up 21 points a game. Those offenses early on, I know it's a different game now, but those offenses early on were just, based on his rushing ability. So
I completely agree with that assessment. I think McNabb is a good comp. My comp for Jalen Hurts coming out was Steve McNair, kind of that same type. But if you look at McNair and McNabb, they kind of were similar in the way.
If he turns into either of those guys, you're going to be very happy.
Exactly. And it's good enough to get the job done. And this isn't even, like Berto mentioned, with a top 5 defense. We're nowhere near that. So you build around him with the assets, the money, and everything we have. And I think you're in a good spot.
Absolutely.
All right, Berto. Favorite Christmas movie and any Eagle of all time you would want to party with?
Oh man, any of the Grinch movies. There's a couple of them out there. Kind of like the original. I actually watched the original twice today with my son.
Nice.
And come on, you already know. I know Scooter McGilly already knows who I would have over sitting right next to me, and I will continue to pour him water because I know he doesn't probably drink. But Nick Foles, baby, come on. The man delivered the Lombardi Trophy.
Yes, he
the
did.
Greatest memory I've ever had as a fan.
Dude, that sounds like
always
a
be in
hell of a party, though. I mean, Foles would probably be going crazy at that party. I can imagine.
As long as he doesn't get naked and embarrass me, I'm good.
You're right.
All right, fellas, take care, man.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for calling in, brother. We just had Matt. Hopefully, Matt, I saw you on the queue there. If you're still tuning in, you are next up if you hop back in. So I know you were waiting a while, so I appreciate that.
So Grinch and Nick Foles, that was a new one.
Yeah, it's a good combo, man. Grinch is a good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cartoon Grinch, I think, is a top notch. Berto, you hop back in. You got anything last to say, or were you just
listening, fellas? Just listening.
Oh, gotcha. gotta hit him while we can. You know what I mean? We got to draft Matt Corral. Ben, why don't you got the link right here. Love to have you call in and really stand firmly behind that take there. I think you'd probably be pretty alone with that. But no, really, I think he was spot on with the McNabb thing. I would love for him to be. Like, optimistically, I'm hoping that he's spot on with that because, look, if you look back at McNabb early in his career, he was a run, I dare you say, run first quarterback.
Yeah, easily.
Not at the end of his career, or even not in the prime of his career. He kind of had that. He had that exactly what I said you want in a quarterback. You want a quarterback that can win with his arm, but when needed, can make stuff happen with his legs.
He broke the single game rushing record for a quarterback. I think it was against Washington when he played. Obviously, Michael Vick then broke it, and I think Kaepernick and some others broke it since.
Yeah, probably
maybe Lamar too. But at the time, he broke the single game rushing record. He had like over 100 yards rushing for a quarterback, and it was unheard of at that time. So, yeah, I think the McNabb comparison is pretty good. I like it. And I will say, in speaking with Berto every day like I do, it's one of my buddies. He has been on the Hurts bandwagon since day one. And for him to say, look, I don't know if he's the guy or not, but he's the best person for the job right now. And what better way to win and evaluate than by having him in there? We could do both at the same time, kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, no kidding. So, yeah, like we said, links right there. I definitely want you to call in, give your take, and we're taking anything. Obviously, Eagles the hot topic right now, but we can talk a little AV firing. We can talk some MLB lockout, some players you'd love to see the Phillies sign once the lockout hopefully ends shortly. Let's knock on wood for that. We can talk a little Sixers. Joel Embiid carrying the team on his back last night. I know Joey was tuning into that. It was pretty entertaining following him on Twitter. Definitely a follow that you're not going to want to miss. There he is, Scooter McGilly one right there. But I know I'm getting a bunch of messages of people that are going to be calling in very shortly. So Joey, let's just go ahead and take a quick little Coach Joey's Corner here while we're waiting for some more callers. And I'd love to get a play that you saw in this Jets game that you would love to break down.
So, yeah, a play that I want to break down, and I'll save my offensive breakdown for, later or another episode, either one. But defensively on the Josh Sweat sack on third down. Jake, you and I were texting during the game that Steve Nelson was kind of getting a little bit abused by Elijah Moore.
We talked about it in the preview show, and I was like, look, and you tried to give him a little benefit of the doubt. Like, is it more just because of Avonte Maddox and Darius Slay are playing so well that we think he's playing bad? And no, he's just not very good.
So what I noticed was all this year, Darius Slay really hasn't followed the best receiver. The Eagles play sides. If you're watching an Eagles game, you'll always see Steve Nelson on the right and Darius Slay on the left. You'll just always see it. Obviously, if they're in man and they chase their player across the field, they'll end up on that other side. But there was a key third down in the game after the Jets have scored on 3 straight drives. It was like a 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. And Darius Slay went to the other side of the field, the side of the field he doesn't normally go on, and was one-on-one with Elijah Moore. Zach Wilson takes a 3-step drop, and his eyes go straight to Elijah Moore. And he's getting ready to gun it on a 3-step drop. 1, 2, 3, balls out. So it was either a slant, a hitch, or a comeback. He went to go throw it and pump faked and was like, no, I can't throw this. After that, naturally, as a quarterback, if your 3-step drop isn't there, the pocket's collapsing, pressure's coming, you take an additional 2 to 3 steps backwards. So that becomes now a 5 to 6-step drop. After Slay cut off the original quick on 3rd and 6, and then he reset Zach Wilson and took another 3 steps back, that allowed Josh Sweat's speed rush to sack Zach Wilson. If Wilson had let the ball go on his 3-step drop, whether it's a completion or not, Josh Sweat doesn't get a sack, doesn't touch Zach Wilson. But because Slay took that first read, that route, his go-to, Elijah Moore away, Wilson had to recalibrate, take an additional 2 to 3 steps back, and that allowed Sweat's speed rush to sack him. It was a beautiful play, and it kind of shows you how football can be so complementary. Just because Darius Slay did a great job, sometimes you don't always see the results. But we credit Josh Sweat for that sack, and rightfully so. He beat his man, but he wouldn't have got that unless Slay did his job.
No, and he definitely did his job. I mean, that was a booming hit. I know our friend Chris Malley over at 4th and John, he was at the game, and he was saying that you just watched it from the stands. You saw that play developing. You saw the great coverage. You saw Sweat beat his man, and then you just heard it throughout the stands, just that violent crack. And it was pretty cool to watch.
Didn't fumble at it too.
Oh, no kidding. He didn't really see it coming until the very, very last second. And so it was a very cool sack to see. Happy that they held their flags there. Don't think it was a roughing the passer. We have a type-in answer of Christmas Vacation and Jason Kelsey.
That is my answer, and Mama K knows that. I think that's why she put it.
Oh, yeah. So I will talk a little sports here. Matt, I know I just messaged you saying call in, we'll get you right on, but Joey's gotta run super quick for about 45 seconds to a minute. Joey, get on out of here. Go handle your business, and then Matt, you are going to be right on with us. I know we you know what? While he's out there, let me go ahead and get this going. Let's have you hop in right now, and Joey will be back in just a second. Matt, welcome to Talking 215. How are you doing, pal?
Hey, I'm doing good, man. How are you?
Matt, you are super quiet. I don't know what's going on. I can hear you, but it is a whisper.
Is it any better now?
I mean, it's a little better, but it's still, let me see if I can, it doesn't let me. Oh, let me see. All right. Try again. I just adjusted the mic volume.
Yeah. You guys hear me okay?
It's still pretty quiet, but I don't know. We're having a little bit of a hard time hearing Matt here. Matt, if you're on your phone, I don't think it's a hold your ear kind of thing, but love to talk some sports with you. I know I wanted to thank you for the.
Any better now?
Not really. Joey, are you hearing him better than I?
Yeah, I can hear him. You just got to turn the volume up a little, Matt.
I can hear him just as a whisper. I just didn't know if it was on my end or if it was really just.
Yeah, I got it turned up. I'm not sure what's going on.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, you're coming through. You're coming through a little better now. It's definitely good enough to keep going. Matt, welcome to the show, pal.
Hey guys, I appreciate it. Always a great show. It's an honor being on here.
Thank you, Matt. I would love to know, because when I saw your quota tweet, and thank you for that, really made both of our weeks. Remember I sent you the screenshot.
Yeah.
Really made both of our weeks. I would love to know just how you exactly heard about our show. I'd love to hear a story of that, and then I would love to hear your takes on just anything Eagles, Philly sports, whatever you want.
Yeah, I just. I seen it through Twitter. Somebody probably retweeting it or something. I don't know, but I hopped on there right away, and I've been very impressed with it. I enjoy all the takes.
Yeah, Coach Joey is impressive. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. as far as the Birds, man, the thing is, we got to keep Hurts in there because if they, I'm afraid they're gonna. If there's actually a controversy, they're just gonna go try to get another quarterback.
I think that's a wonderful
They're
point.
not gonna use. They're gonna use their draft, pieces for that, and we need to keep Hurts and we need to build around him.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I mean, if you think about it, Matt, once you bench Hurts or whatever you want to call it, and you put Minshew in again, how do you sell the team, anybody, the city, that Hurts is the guy going forward next year? You just can't. We saw it with Wentz. We've seen it with so many other quarterbacks. Once that happens, it's kind of like the writing's on the wall. So I agree with you. I think they need to build around Hurts, and hopefully he makes this decision for us so much easier by just balling out these last 4 games.
Oh man, that's exactly right. And I know like on WIP and the Philly sports media, they're saying, well, all that matters is making the playoffs. But I think it's just giving Hurts the entire year and then build around him, because we just keep going in the same cycle every few years where this organization, they don't trust a quarterback, and then they go get another one, and they use all their assets to get another one, and then they're never able to actually build around that quarterback. He never gets a good chance.
And what
it's robbing Peter to pay Paul.
In what better situation to build around a quarterback than a guy that's on a second-round rookie deal, where we're going to be going into the salary cap is jumping, I believe, $21 million this season. We already have a fair amount in cap space. We're all praying that Jason Kelce doesn't retire, but if he does, I believe that opens close to another $20 million. I mean, we're having the potential. Obviously, there's going to be signings that you need to just fill those holes that are just necessary, not necessarily with those key free agents. But we could be going into free agency after some post-June 1st cuts or anything, or trades, with upwards of $60 million. And what better situation to build around a quarterback than 3 first-round picks, $60 million in free agency, with guys like Allen Robinson, Michael Gallup, Chris Godwin, Devontae Adams, all available in free agency. And that's just the top 4 that came to the top of my head. This wide receiver free agency is massive. Obviously, we've talked about it a ton. You take Devontae Smith out of this wide receiver room, we have the worst wide receivers in the NFL. So that's a position that we are both hoping that they address probably in free agency. Don't really think a third first-round wide receiver is ever great for a franchise. But you're spot on. Like, you want to find a guy that you can build around. I'm not yet sold that he is that guy to build around, but I will stand firmly on the ground of the Eagles' best scenario is that he turns out to be that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said, and my opinion is just, come on, we got to give him at least this year,
No, 100%. And look, it can be fun. Like, I know, look, don't get me wrong. In the back of my mind, I would love to see Minshew against a better defense. Like, we all said, like, no matter who you put out there, we could probably beat the Jets. Like, we could put Lane Johnson, who is a quarterback in college, Greg Ward. We put Tyree Jackson, 6'7", Tyree Jackson, who's a quarterback in the XFL out there, and we're ultimately probably winning that game. And sure, it would be fun to see what Minshew looks like against a better defense, but it's just not worth it. Like, it's not answering any questions. You already know what Minshew is, who Minshew is. He's a very, very likable guy. He's a ton of fun to watch, just a fun guy. But the questions that you have of is Hurts the future still isn't answered, and you need him to play every possible snap he can so that you can find that answer.
Yeah, man. I would love to see Minshew play against someone else, but all I'm going to say is go Hurts. And
go Hurts.
Also, I would love to hang out with but I would love to hang out with Ike Reese.
Ike Reese.
Ike Reese. All right. Ike Reese invited to the Christmas party.
Drink some
what's your favorite Christmas movie, though?
I actually don't have a Christmas movie, but I do appreciate you guys. Thanks a lot for having
me. Hey, Matt, we can't thank you enough. I'm telling you that tweet made both of our weeks. We really appreciate it. We've got a ton of fun stuff coming up in the future, so we're definitely, you're going to want to keep an eye out for that. And we're looking at doing some things for guys like you, for Sam. I know Jason just he's always been a continued supporter. That didn't play any role in him winning that jersey before.
Yeah, that was just luck.
He deserved that jersey.
But we are looking to do something on the side to just thank all of our loyal listeners throughout the whole podcast. So we're definitely going to be reaching out to you. But thanks so much for calling in, Matt.
Appreciate
Thanks
it,
a
Matt.
lot, guys. Really appreciate it, man. It's an honor. Thank you.
What a guy. What a guy.
I mean, for those of you who don't know, Matt gave us the best ringing endorsement on Twitter ever, and I dare you to try to beat it. I mean, if
double
you
dog
stuck
dare.
up, kiss up, whatever. Matt literally gave the best tweet ever. When everybody was doing their Spotify rap, he gave us a shout out saying that we were number one on the Spotify for being listened to. Great show, all that.
I think you're mixing him up with Jim, but Matt was the guy that
quoted, am I?
Yeah, Matt quoted your tweet of the video breakdown. He was like, loving these talking 2 and 5 guys more and more. Yeah. So I think so. I actually think you're right and wrong at the same time.
I'm definitely wrong, but still, heck of a shout out from Matt. I know what you're talking about, man. That's my fault. Either way, it was great.
No, either way, great guy. Super happy to have him on. I'd love to get him on some more. But let's go to another great guy. Not giving us some great tweets. So, Bill, you got to step up your game. Bill from BSing Sports, welcome to the show. How are you, brother?
What's going on, fellas? Sorry it took me so long to get on.
What's up, man?
What's up? So I don't know how much of the show I missed. What? Give me a little bit of quick feedback.
About an hour.
Just some people talking about Minshew Hurts thing, your stance on it, where you stand with that going forward, how the Eagles' outlook is in general, what they should do next year, what we have to look forward to, these next 4 games, etc.
And it's not only locked into Eagles. If you have Flyers, Sixers, Union, Phillies takes, you're welcome to share them as well.
I'll stick with the Eagles for right now. I'll start with Jake. Ryan and I had you on our show a couple weeks back, and if you remember correctly, I said that the Eagles are going to go on a run here. They're going to win 6 of the next 7 games. And they are going to find a way to make the playoffs. Now, I also followed it up the following week with saying I did not predict them losing to the New York Giants in that second week. I said they were going to beat the Saints, and then it was going to start a run. They'd probably lose to Washington in their next game. But I didn't predict them losing to the Giants. I also didn't predict Jalen Hurts to get hurt in that particular game and not play against the Jets. So I'll address 2 things, 2 birds with one stone here. Gardner Minshew is not the quarterback.
17 passes, they weren't going to win.
You did say that. I will give you your credit there. However, the following game against the Giants, he threw the ball how many times and they lost. So proving my point even more.
He threw it well about 5 times.
You were right the first week. I was right the second week. Pretty simple. Having said that, Gardner Minshew is not the quarterback of the future for the Philadelphia Eagles. He is exactly what he is. He is a spot quarterback. His energy is wonderful and amazing, and I'd love to have him on the sideline for years to come. But he is not the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles' future. Now, having said that, I also have not seen enough from Jalen Hurts, and I don't believe, Jake, you've heard me several times say this, I don't believe Jalen Hurts is the quarterback of the future for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, there is no one else, so Jalen Hurts must play. It is his team. It is his job to lose, but as one of your viewers said earlier, I did catch like 5 minutes of it. The leash on Jalen Hurts is probably a lot shorter. If he comes out in the Redskins game and they have a potential chance to win that game at halftime and he plays like he did in the first half against the Giants, I don't think we see Jalen Hurts again. So there's that. However, best case scenario, as you pointed out 100 times, is Jalen Hurts plays well. We build the team around Jalen Hurts. And if that is the case, I stand by what I said. The one game that they were going to lose, they've already lost. I say they win out. And the Eagles somehow sneak into the playoffs here. And you never know what happens when you make the playoffs.
As long as
you're not wrong.
Dance, anything can happen.
Yeah, that's right. Get to the dance. Anything can happen. Yeah.
I mean, we saw with the Titans, right? With
that's
that
right.
rush attack with Derrick Henry and Tannehill really having to do not much but manage the game. And Tannehill's actually pretty mobile. He could run, from time to time. And Hurts is obviously a lot more mobile. You're looking at a possible NFC version of the Titans. Granted, we don't have a Derrick Henry, but strong rush game, defense that plays sound and average, and a quarterback that can get you those big clutch 3rd down conversions, maybe with his legs, maybe with just taking care of the ball. So you could be looking at something like that.
Yeah, not to mention, a lot of people are disregarding the fact that Miles Sanders had a 100-yard plus game before he injured his ankle and went out. This team can rush the ball with or without Jalen Hurts, and it's important to note that. I get it. It was the New York Jets. I'm not saying that they're a great defense. That's not what I'm saying. But if Hurts can protect the ball and they can continue to run the ball the way they have, they're the best rushing offense in football. That's not going away in the next 4 weeks. It's not. They have a chance to make a good push. I don't think they're on the same level as other playoff teams in the NFL, or even in the NFC for that matter. But they could make a push. They could win a game, maybe sneak a second one out. And then you're looking at the team completely differently. And again, if Jalen Hurts is the quarterback in that scenario, you give him next year too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about, I don't know if you heard, Bill, but like if you are the quarterback for the team that goes on a run and makes the playoff and makes a little noise, then you've pretty much earned next year, or at least the right to be in that conversation for next year. I could see if we go 2-2 down the stretch and the play is a little off, then that conversation is easily on the table for replacing him. But when you're the starting quarterback of a team that qualifies for the playoffs and your play is part of that and the run game and this run, I think that allows you to have that.
And I concur. While you guys are letting me ramble on here on your show, which I appreciate, by the way,
of course,
because I missed the opportunity to talk to Jake or even you, Joey, last night about the AV firing for the Flyers. So I know I'm jumping from Eagles to Flyers real quick.
No, you're good.
I think it was too late, to be honest with you. You fire him after losing your 7th straight or 8th straight, whatever game it was. I've stopped watching because that's how pathetic they've looked on the ice. Yeah. It was too late. As an organization, I don't we discussed in the offseason how big the signings of Ellis and Ristolainen were. And I know that Ellis has been hurt and Hayes has been hurt, and I get it. But with the rest of the talent on the ice, they should have been at least competing. They scored 4 goals last night, which is the best they've done in 5 goals, and the best they've done in 12 games, and they still managed to lose the game. So from a coach,
we got 14 goals in 2 games. 14.
The word for that is pathetic.
7 from Hart, 7 from Jones. Like, and the big thing that really comes to mind for me, and don't get me wrong, like I love Giroux. He's been one of my favorite players. I was at a game when I believe it was his rookie season, where he just really started lighting it up in the playoffs there. And I was like, man, like we've got a great guy here. But you've got to open up the question of this Flyers core is now seeing their 6th head coach. Like, that's a bit of and how many GMs have they gone through? Like, at what time do you take a step back and look in the mirror and be like, man, like this core of players, you can name a number of them, Giroux, Couturier. I mean, JVR, he was in and out for a little bit. It would have been Voracek, but he was traded. So, like some other guys here or there, most of them are a little bit newer, but the main 3 there, they've seen now their 6th head coach and they're at least their 3rd GM in that stretch. Like
even Provorov is on his 3rd coach.
Yeah, and he's still ridiculously young.
Correct.
Like, at what point are you like, you got to kind of look in the mirror. Like, we love Giroux. We think he's great, but is he a problem?
So your suggestion is rebuild completely, or are we just trying to retool away from Giroux?
I don't know. Like, I would love
the look Joey's making right now is exactly how I feel about it. Like,
there's no right answer because you have no idea what's going to, like, because with Philadelphia, we go and trade Giroux and he goes on a tear where he's always been a playmaker and he ends up scoring 40 goals and netting 70 assists.
And that's just a sentimental heartbreaker. I know you're not supposed to think of your heart.
Giroux. I love him.
Look, I'm a huge Giroux fan. I got the Giroux jersey and everything, and I discussed in the offseason how he wasn't the problem and how he needs to be on the team. He's a playmaker, as Jake just pointed out. But at some point, we have to look around. We're not a team that's winning. We haven't been a team that's won. Even that 2010 team, they were a good team, but they shouldn't have been in the Cup. We're all aware of it. They just ran the playoffs crazy, and it was amazing and wonderful to be a part of.
No, if they won the Cup, it would have been a Disney movie 3 years later.
Yeah. But if this is what the team is right now, and Claude Giroux is the captain, and he's been here for, I think, 12 years now, you got to start looking at him and wondering not if he's the problem, but if he's a piece to rebuild.
Yeah.
Well, I have questions of is how, and I liken this to the Phillies too. Like, how bad do you want to win? Like, where does winning rank on the priority? If
I want to go there too. I want to go
management. Like, where does that rank for you? Because I look at like Jack Eichel, like looking for a trade, and I look at, all these players that are available and like people wanting to come, like basically make themselves free agents or available or come get me. You see it in the NBA all the time. Like, hey, I want to be traded. Hey, I want to be this. Like, why are the Flyers never like in that conversation, like at the top of, like, ooh, linked to the Flyers, could possibly be linked to the Flyers. Why are we never like
the
in
most
that?
recent big name on the agency? I mean, you didn't really hear anything with that.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. So I have to ask when it comes to like management, like where does winning rank on your priority list here? Are you content with just being like, good? Oh, we know Philly fans will just flock to the stadium because this is a blue collar city and die hard about the Flyers, and they always will come and will always make money and we'll grit it out. Or do we really want to take that next step as an upper echelon team? Like, where does it rank, management?
And here's the worst part about it is they're preaching they want to win every season to the fans, and then they do nothing to prove it. The most recent thing that any of the teams have done to prove that they want to win was when we went out and got the Phillies went out and got Bryce Harper a few years back. And then it was great that they traded for JT Realmuto. That was wonderful. They took in the entire offseason to re-sign him. And then he had a subpar season, but you couldn't have predicted that when he was the best catcher in baseball when you re-signed him. You should have had that contract done well before it got to where it was, A. B, you've done nothing to bolster your bullpen. You've done nothing to bolster your starting rotation. You went out and got Kyle Gibson, which was a good trade. In my opinion, the Phillies won that trade. Spencer Howard is not a good pitcher, and he proved it on the Rangers just like he was proving it in Philadelphia. So now you're in an offseason where you have the best player in baseball on your roster. He just won the NL MVP, and you wait and watch all of these elite players come off the board, a bunch of them to NL East rivals.
Yep.
And the only person you sign is Cory Clement. Look, great signing. I like it. Yeah. 1 year deal. He's betting on himself. I think it's a good signing. You waited way too long to make a move, and now you're in a lockout for who knows how long, and you just don't know all these people that were holding out what they're going to have to offer when the lockout comes back. You sat on your hands way too long.
You're right.
Amazing point. Great. I agree with everything Bill just said right there. And Bill, one thing I was arguing with people on Twitter was that they were saying, be patient, be patient. Some of the big guys are still out there. But my whole thing is this. When the lockout ends, you now have this amount of time before the season starts.
Exactly.
As opposed to this amount of time. So all these other teams are still going to be going after those players that you're linking to the Phillies. You think the Phillies are the only teams interested in Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos? You think they are? So what happens if Schwarber goes to the Red Sox and Castellanos gets a stupid offer from a team that Middleton doesn't want to match? What are you doing in center and left field? But we were supposed to be patient. Patient for what? You had the runner-up in the Cy Young, and you have the MVP on your team. The time is now.
The time is now. Absolutely, the time is now.
So that's what I don't get when people are like, let's just wait and see what happens when it comes out. This is supply and demand, guys. If you look in any economy, when we were going through COVID, were you supposed to wait? I'll just wait until they restock the toilet paper and the bottled water. Yeah, I'm sure there'll be plenty of that stuff.
No, you go find it for yourself.
You go get it.
That's right.
The time is now. So
we're gonna continue the conversation with this, but we're getting some calls lining up. So, Bill, favorite Christmas movie and what Eagle would you have join your party?
So my favorite Christmas movie is one that's a little more adult versioned. Is the unrated Batter Santa 2. Check it out if you haven't, and trust me, adults, you will love it. And what was the second question?
Any Eagle to join your Christmas party, living or dead, all time.
Well, that's a good one. I'd probably go Reggie White.
All right.
There you go. Nice.
Yeah. Reggie White of the night. I like it.
So Reggie White's coming over to the Christmas party as you guys are watching Batter Santa.
2.
Yeah.
Unrated.
2. The second one.
The second one. Okay.
The second one. Yeah.
Unrated.
There's like a few great scenes that you'll understand why I say it's the funniest. Yeah.
Love it.
Is it similar? Is it similar to why Jared Goff is winning right now, even on the worst team in the NFL?
Yeah. Similar.
Excellent. Well,
can I actually? Oh no, never mind. Phillies, you're good.
Go ahead.
I was actually going to comment on the whole Dan Campbell in Detroit. That Detroit team, yeah, they went out and they beat the Vikings the other day. Again, I know this isn't Eagles, but BSing sports, we talk all sports. But he has that team bought in around him. The only 2 games I can think of all season that they have not been in are the Eagles game and another one I can't think of it.
They're 9-4
but anyway,
against the spread.
Let's say that again.
After this past week, they're 9-4 against the spread because they've played 13 games, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, they do play hard for him, and they do.
They're 9-4 against the spread.
And yeah, I just wanted to make the statement of how hard that team losing is playing for their coach.
Oh yeah,
love to
see it. Well, Bill, thank you so much for calling in, pal.
Of course, man. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh
Absolutely.
yeah. For those who don't know, Bill is over on his group BSing Sports. Be sure to check him on Facebook and Twitter. They do wonderful stuff, covering just the sports world in general. Obviously, both of them are Philadelphia fans, both Bill and Ryan, but they really have a great unbiased take on things Philadelphia and just things around NFL, MLB, NHL, NBA, and who knows, maybe they'll talk a little MLS.
He took the words right out of my mouth with the Phillies take. Bravo.
Yeah.
I loved it.
No, I love it. And I want to just hop right over to my man Colin here because he's coming all the way from across the pond.
Pondy boy. Colin, what's up, man?
Oh, boys, can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you loud and clear. How are you?
Nice to see you, boys. Jake, looking good as ever. Joey, looking ripped as ever.
Yeah, he is. Is that a Gardner Minshew to Eagles 10 jersey?
No, it's not. It's a Deshaun jacket.
I know.
That would have been quite funny.
You bought it, but I had to put it in there.
Yeah.
What's on your mind, Colin? What's going on, man?
I think just to go off that sort of discussion you boys were having earlier with the whole Minshew and Hurts thing in terms of looking ahead to the future, like in a way, I think I kind of looked at it from a different perspective in that I think it was the perfect game for Minshew to come in and play. Like, imagine if Minshew came in and played the Saints and absolutely balled out. Like, I think that would be even worse in a way because the controversy would be just sky high right now if it isn't already. But something that I saw on Twitter and something that we discussed in one of our preview shows last week was that this idea that Jalen Hurts has shown this development, that he's developing into a QB that you can not only win with, but one that you can win because of. I think, like you guys have said, like the best case scenario is that Hurts succeeds. And Jake, we spoke quite a lot over the off season. Like, we're both big Hurts fans in terms of intangibles, like his leadership. I'm not quite there with, obviously the passing game yet. But I still think that over the last 3 or 4 weeks, I think he's shown development insofar as you can say, right, we can maybe build around him next year. Let's give him, definitely to the end of this year. There's no way that they should bench him at all, because as soon as you bench him, then you kind of bring the Wentz narrative back from last year in a way.
You're just running in circles. Like you're not progressing. You're running in circles.
Yeah,
that's all you're doing if you put Minshew in as your starter.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the Eagles are peaking at the right time right now, because I think apart from that Giants game, I thought it was a bit of an anomaly result. Like, it's the NFL, it's week to week. Like, other than that, like over the last few weeks, I think Sirianni's adapted well. Gannon, I mean, that's a different conversation. Like, I honestly, I've listened to obviously some of your recent shows, and like Joey, like I agree with you. Like, I honestly wouldn't be against, like, if Gannon was fired tomorrow, I honestly wouldn't mind, to be honest, because I think, like, going off the Jets game in particular, like, yes, he adapted, but it took him, 2 scores to adapt. Like, you shouldn't have to come into that game and having to adapt against the Jets. Like, Jets have one of the worst offenses in the game. So I think it's his sort of defense, his style. It's not a sustainable style, I don't think. I think when you come up against better offenses, and certainly if they want to make the playoffs and even win a playoff game, like, they're just going to get picked apart by better teams. And I think, but in general, like, it's in case of Sirianni, like, I was kind of unsure halfway through the season, but I'm starting to turn over. I'm kind of to like a bit more of what he's doing. I think he's certainly shown growth in terms of his play calling. And yeah, I just want to see this team. I think all we ever wanted this team to do this season was to show development, and in particular Jalen Hurts to show development, and Nick Sirianni. And I think Sirianni's shown that he can adapt. This team has gone through adversity at the start of the season with a few rough games, like that Chargers game was firmly down to Gannon. But I think overall they've shown,
1,000%.
Yeah, I think they've shown signs of, being able to adapt and overcome adversity, which is always, a good sign when it comes to, first year head coaches. I certainly wouldn't, I certainly, if we're sort of going to re-rank the coaches that were signed over the past year, like, I'd certainly take Sirianni over Dan Campbell. I'd take him over Robert Saleh, I think. Maybe Brandon Staley, maybe not, but like, I think Sirianni's up there in terms of like, if this team makes the playoffs, then certainly like you could make a case that Sirianni was the best hire of the offseason.
I completely agree with you. And you touched on something we talk about all this time, and that's adapting.
I knew right when he said it. I was like, Joey's he's gonna jump
that hits
right
me in
on
the
that.
sweet spot, Colin. I'm telling you, that hits me in the sweet spot. When you see a coach that adapts and isn't stubborn and isn't stuck in his ways, that to me is a good coach. That to me is somebody who is willing to change and learn in order for the betterment and the best of the team. So yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head right there. And I wanted to ask you one thing is, so where are you at? Where are you located right now?
I'm in Sheffield, which is like a city in the north of England.
How did you become an Eagles fan? How did that all start?
This is cool.
So I'd been watching the NFL. So I'm 20 years old now. I'd been watching the NFL. I started watching it when I was probably 14, 15 years old. And then I kind of, after a few years of just watching it in general, I kind of thought, okay, I need to decide on a team now. And so I was just kind of searching through British players that were playing in the NFL, and I came across Jay Ajayi. Watched him a bit in college, and then obviously, goes to the Eagles halfway through the year that they were going to win the Super Bowl. And luckily, that was the first year I properly followed the Eagles. So I was, I'm incredibly lucky that the first year I got to follow the Eagles, they won the Super Bowl.
For the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the reason we won the Super Bowl then, obviously.
Maybe, yeah.
And that's really cool because I've wanted to get into either Premier League or I wanted to jump on a team. I've been watching a lot of Ted Lasso lately, so I've wanted to.
Can I say a hot take right now?
Go ahead.
I hate Ted Lasso.
Oh my god! Why do you hate it?
It's just I just find it a bit overrated. It's just I see a lot of love for it, particularly from you guys, American guys, but from our perspective, it's just a bit cringy, to be honest, and it's not really representative of football over here. I don't know, I don't like it.
I can get that, but I'm also gonna I'll DM you, I'll message you when I need to pick a team to start going for. I don't want to pick the best team, but I'm gonna have to latch onto a team, and I really love to start rooting for one of them. So I'm gonna reach out to you for that.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah.
No, like you were saying, you can go right back to your adaptation comments, because right when he said that, I knew Joey's ears perked up, because that's just something we've been echoing all along.
Oh yeah,
Sirianni's really done an incredible job. I mean, he's not a good public speaker. Even I jumped in on that, saying man, the guy sounds like a moron half the time. That stupid flower comment that now he's embraced, and that's great. But we're such a results-based fan base, and right now, I think people that really know what they're looking at can see that he's doing a good job.
I also think as well, just listening to NFL Network stuff and on Good Morning Football, I still feel I don't know what it's like over there, but I still get this feeling that people are still unsure about the kind of the way that he's approaching press conferences, and people in the media still not convinced by his approach. And I think that's fairly valuable. I think but if he does make the playoffs, then I think the whole narrative is probably going to change, and I think we're going to start taking this guy more seriously, hopefully.
Absolutely, completely agree.
No, I'm with you, spot on. Colin, I know you're a big Ben Simmons guy, or you were for a while. Some news coming out today that Damian Lillard would love to play with Ben Simmons. We're hearing the last I heard was a CJ McCollum, Rocco for Ben Simmons, Danny Green. Do you do it?
I would, when I spoke to you a few months ago, that I said Ben Simmons was one of the reasons that I became a Sixers fan, funny enough, because of obviously the international connections. I watched him a bit in college at LSU, and just kind of being from Australia, that kind of, international connection, it's quite a sort of rare pathway to come through. But you do whatever you can just to get that guy gone. That guy is just an absolute, he's just killing this team right now. The fact that, I think it sort of, at one point I was sort of at the start of the season, I was okay, maybe he doesn't turn up, maybe he gets fined, but at least even if the team is depleted in terms of injuries, maybe he'll turn up one game. But then when when Embiid got COVID, when the whole team, when Matisse Thybulle was out and a couple of other guys, like you think, Ben Simmons, now your time to come and save us, come and step up, and he still didn't. Like that's it for me. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's over. Like, I want nothing to do with that guy.
Completely agree.
No, I'm with you. I'd love to just get rid of him and look, even if it's just Ben for CJ, even though it's not a perfect fit here, it doesn't matter. You get somebody that has some kind of value to him. I think all of Philadelphia is kind of coming around to the idea that you're not going to be getting a young all-star caliber player for him unless we are the ones giving up a considerable amount more. So you get rid of him. I know the Trailblazers are the team that are really kind of putting headlines for being trade targets. And then what is it? The Pacers came out today saying that they're open to the idea of putting some of their marquee players up on the market. So maybe you look at that direction.
I think it's interesting as well when you look at someone like Simmons and then you look at someone like Tyrese Maxey. Like they're just complete opposite players in terms of like Tyrese Maxey is someone you want to build your team around. So he's got sort of an infectious personality. He's the guy that just constantly works hard. And then you've got Ben Simmons on the other hand. I mean, it's a tough spot at the minute for the Sixers, but hopefully a team getting a bit more healthy. Embiid's coming back. Hopefully they can go on a bit of a run.
Get hot at the right time.
If Embiid can do what he did last night and then still after the game say he's still feeling effects from COVID, like just imagine like as his conditioning just keeps getting better, he's going to go right back to truly being, I mean, by all definitions of MVP, most valuable player. He is the most valuable player to his team.
Absolutely. Yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Colin, thanks so much for coming on, man. I know it's super late there. And Joey, is this the first time you've had the opportunity to speak with him one-on-one?
I think Colin and I got on a show before, too. I don't know whose show it was. It might have been Phil's, where we were both talking some Eagles in the offseason, I think, right? Where we were chatting about maybe.
I think I can't remember whose it was, but I remember speaking a bit to you.
Yeah, we chatted before on someone else's show prior. I think it was prior to me joining Talking 215. So I've had a couple conversations with him back and forth, and on Twitter too. Obviously.
Yeah, but am I wrong that for a 20-year-old Brit, like he just blows my mind with his like anytime like I listen to his episode, like every episode he puts out there. Does a great job with his show, Brit's Guide to the NFL. Definitely want to check that out for anybody that's just an NFL fan, especially for all of our British listeners, international listeners out there. He does a wonderful job. But I mean, it blows my mind every week, every time I talk to him. Just like he's echoing what we're saying, which so obviously he's smart, if he's agreeing with us. But then he goes like a step deeper and says why, not just like, oh yes, I agree with you, like adapting and adjusting game plans. He's like, no, you see that when he did this with this player, and then when he went out, he immediately adjusted the game plan and then just like, I don't know, he does an incredible job.
Yeah, Callum, when I was 20 years, I played American football my entire life. And when I was 20 years old, I did not have the acumen or the knowledge database that you have right now. So hats off to that. Brit's Guide to the NFL. Check it out. Brit's Guide NFL at Brit's Guide NFL as well. Plethora of knowledge. And for only 20 years old, it's pretty amazing.
I'm just thankful for not only letting me come on the show and talk birds, because obviously we do a sort of a general NFL show, so I don't really get to talk much about the Eagles, although my co-host might dispute that. But, also like Joe in particular, like getting to listen to your coach's corner and sort of learning, more about the sort of ins and outs of the game. Like I'm trying to get into that side of stuff. I'm actually going to play American football for the first time on Saturday at my local team, going for a tryout. So that should be fun.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Love it. I love it. Well, good luck, Kyle. I wish you nothing but the best, man. Hope you make it. Update us on how it goes. And seriously, best of luck with that.
Thanks, man.
Looking forward to watching his huddle.
I can't wait.
All right. Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
HELL space YEA.
I mean, there it is right there. Hell yeah, Colin. Let's go.
That was cool. I'm pumped for him.
No, for sure. And I know we referenced where you guys first met, and there he is, the host, the man, right on time at 8:30. Phil.
Oh, look who it is.
What's going on, gentlemen?
Phil, what kind of
having
t-shirt
a
you
great
wearing,
time
man?
talking to one.
This is my Oscar the Grouch Bah Humbug shirt. I know you guys are asking a lot of Christmas questions today, so I had to make sure I had something.
Are you pandering to the Christmas crowd?
I am pandering, yes.
We got that in there. Well, thanks for hopping on, man. I know you've had a busy day and whatnot.
It's all good.
I tried ducking you and avoiding you because I wanted no smoke at all. I knew you were going to come on. So
well, I mean, it was hit or miss. I got to make sure I keep you guys in check.
Oh, without a doubt.
We won't
be able to end the show if you didn't come on.
Let's dive right into the AV firing, shall we? Flyers with Elaine Vigneault being fired. Thoughts on that and thoughts Eagles anyway. Gardner Minshew.
First off, the Flyers definitely should have fired their coach. I mean, I don't watch much hockey, anymore. It's just, it's fallen to 4th or 5th on the list for me.
You're not missing anything.
But I'm not missing it. I actually said at the beginning of the season that now that I'm doing a general morning show where I'm trying to cover all 5 Philly sports teams, because there are 5 Philly sports teams, not 4. Can't forget the Union. I'm like, I'm going to be – I have a reason to watch Flyers hockey, and people think of me as an Eagles guy, a Sixers guy. People don't realize the 2 sports I've been to the most games of are Phillies and Flyers in my life. I've been to more of those games than Sixers and Flyers game or Sixers and Eagles games combined. So I'm a big Flyers fan, but man, they don't give you a reason to watch at all. It's terrible. It's blow it up territory in my opinion. It's fire everybody, and AV got the blame for this. But Chuck Fletcher has much to blame. And the GM needs to be held accountable because he put this team together. He hired these coaches and everything else. So that's all I got on Flyers.
So what's up with the state of the Eagles right now, man? Obviously, the low-hanging fruit is Gardner Minshew played. Obviously, we want to talk about that. But, get into the real nitty-gritty of it, man. How are we looking right now? What's the state?
Well, the state is as expected. It's actually better than expected, honestly, in my opinion. A general State of the Union Eagles thing. Because, I mean, no one expected playoffs. No one expected anything like that this year. And let's be realistic. The team has sold the fan base and the players that this is a playoff team, at least a contender, and they're not, giving up their not rebuilding, they were retooling. And let's be honest, they got 4 games left, 3 very winnable games. They're right in the thick of the playoff hunt. They're doing exactly what they tried to sell us on. Now, smart fans like myself and Jake, unlike you, Joey, we know, that there's really no chance and no expectations, but, they're right in the thick of it. So, we could talk about the future all we want, but honestly, deep down inside, I just want to talk about right now and making the playoffs. Playoff football is great. And when you have a young team like the Eagles have, playoff experience is super important. Even if it's a loss, even if it's a no chance at winning first round exit, playoff experience is huge and very important.
Phil, let me pose this question to you. And this is something I've been thinking about now that just recently after you're saying playoffs and how big it is for a team with the experience. Jake and I touched on some of the free agent wide receivers that are available, the amount of money that the Eagles will have, even the free agents. Do you think that making the playoffs where, this isn't Eagles versus Jets on the D squad CBS lineup at 1:00 that nobody sees. Right. Every playoff game is a primetime game that the whole world is watching. Do you think getting hot at the right time, making the playoffs and making a little bit of noise, is that enticing thing for a free agent to say, I may be making $1 million more over here with the Jets, but I'm going to go to Philly because they got a chance to win?
Yeah, I mean, I think big picture, that theory works. But it also depends on how it plays out with the Eagles, with the quarterback situation, with Howie Roseman. Teams want to go to winning teams. And there's a lot of negativity around this team early in the season when they were struggling, and Nick Sirianni was looking like a fish out of water as a head coach. But the more that they progress forward, the more they do better. People are like, all right, Nick Sirianni's got a plan. Nick Sirianni's got his players' backs. He's not just a T-shirt guy. He's a little bit more than that. So, yeah, making the playoffs absolutely makes a difference. I look at Allen Robinson, Michael Gallup, and some of these other guys that are out there. Was it Tim Patrick or Courtland Sutton that already signed an extension?
They both did.
Whoever. Oh, they both did. Okay, I missed one of them. I thought only one of them. So they were both on my list as well. these guys are going to want to go to a playoff team. You know, if we're a playoff team, you know, I love Michael Gallup. I've always been a fan of him. He's the guy that I would be targeting even over Allen Robinson, in my opinion. And
25.
I'm sorry?
He's 25, doesn't have any near the amount of injuries as Allen Robinson.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think he might be a little cheaper. I know Allen Robinson's had a down year, but I think teams will still pay him for the potential because, let's be honest, the Bears are, you know, probably one of the worst quarterback situations in the league right now. So, you know, they're going to see that and they're still going to pay Allen Robinson. But, you know, Michael Gallup, I mean, you know, he's already been a playoff team, you know, with the Cowboys. So, you know, I think he's going to want to play in the playoffs. And, you know, if we have a set situation, Jalen Hurts is definitely our quarterback going forward. Nick Sirianni is locked in and players are buying into him. I think making the playoffs makes a huge difference for free agency. Now, I don't think they signed one of those guys, though, on the side.
I mean, you talk about the motivation Gallup would have to play against the Cowboys twice, knowing that they didn't want to give him a contract. That's kind of like,
the Cowboys are in a position where they can't pay him.
No, I know.
They've already given big money to Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott. They're going to have to give him big money to CeeDee Lamb eventually. They can't pay Michael Gallup. They're going to have to lose Michael Gallup. So he's there for the pickings.
Completely agree with you. They that Zeke contract is going to come back to bite them bad.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. The Cooper one might be biting them soon here too, because Cooper's been banged up a lot in the last 2 years since they've given him that contract. So, you know, I never believe in giving that big of a contract to a running back, though. It always bites you in the ass. It never works out big picture.
No, certainly. And I know a big discussion right here locally is, do you really want to go out and find that true number one running back? But why would you?
No.
Like, what's the point when you're seeing guys like Jordan Howard, Boston Scott, Kenny Gainwell, Miles Sanders, when he's been healthy, going out there in a committee role, putting up the number one rushing yards in the NFL. Up until last week, we were the number one rushing team with 0 rushers of over 100 yards. Obviously, Miles Sanders broke that last week.
Right.
But, like,
as
why
long
would
as you have
that cap space on a number one guy?
As long as you have a really good offensive line with a really good offensive line plan and coaching scheme and all that stuff, as long as you have Jeff Stoutland still, you know, as long as you have that and you have a healthy, you look at what this offensive line has done this year, considering they have had some injuries, but for the most part, compared to last year, they stayed relatively healthy. You've had almost the same starting offensive line 6-7 games in a row. You see what it does. So, you know, you can move on from Miles Sanders after his rookie deal and just keep rotating in these young running backs. That's all you need to do. A good offensive line makes it all the difference in the world for your running game.
Do you know how many people wearing an Eagles jersey have made the Pro Bowl as a running back currently wearing the Eagles jersey? 0. And we lead the NFL in rushing with the guys that you all just mentioned. I mean,
Jordan Howard didn't make one?
Not with the Eagles, though, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay.
How many people,
honestly,
while wearing an Eagles
running
jersey,
backs have made the Pro Bowl, period?
Yeah.
Ever. You know, LaShawn McCoy made it. You know, Brian Westbrook, I think, made one, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And Ricky Walters, then you have to go all the way back to Ricky Walters for the last one. You know, so it's you can win without. Like, you just look at 2017. Who were our running backs in 2017?
LeGarrette Blount, J.J. Cory Clement.
Yeah, are any of them in the NFL right now?
Cory Clement's a practice squad guy.
Yeah. A lot of people were really upset when we lost him, and I'm like, dude, it's
Look,
okay.
man,
you don't need Cory Clement. You know, he'll go down in Eagles lore, but that's it.
Look, I still have all the respect in the world for Cory Clement and what he did in the Super Bowl.
100 yards receiving in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. I think everybody had 100 yards receiving in the Super Bowl. I think people had 100 yards in the Super Bowl.
Every player did. But that's a great point. You don't need why you have an X amount of dollars that you have to spend to make this roster better. Right. Why pay money to a position that's already fortified and strong and that you can get on the cheap? That it just doesn't make sense.
Look, I hate 2 things in sports Twitter. I hate NBA Trade Machine and I hate mock drafts before the draft process even starts. And I've seen like 4 mock drafts in the last like couple days that have I can't remember, Kenneth whatever, the guy from Michigan State. The Eagles drafted him. I'm like, yeah, he's a great guy, but do you really want to invest a 2nd-round draft pick in this guy?
Whoa.
You got Gainwell, you still got Miles Sanders on his rookie deal. You could bring back Jordan Howard cheap. Boston Scott. You don't need to invest high dollars in these guys. You just don't. And yeah, look at the Titans, how much money they've got locked up in Derrick Henry, and he's done for the year. And that's pretty much going to ruin their season.
Well, think about it. It's when you pay somebody or you draft somebody, you always talk about, am I improving this position? So if you draft the best running back in college and the Eagles have the number one rush offense in the NFL, you're going to say, oh, we needed to add this guy so that we could go from number one in the NFL to what, number one in the NFL still? Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. It's a waste of resources, 110%.
Agree. And I don't think, as much as people get on Howie, I don't think that's a position that he would select that high anyway.
No. There's only one position that we know two positions he selects high. And I'll backtrack to the wide receiver. I still don't think they sign a big name wide receiver, because if they have 3 first-round draft picks, I don't want them to draft a wide receiver in the first round. But what is Howie Roseman's track record? He likes drafting first-round wide receivers.
I think you're right. If he doesn't sign one of those decent wide receivers in free agency, you almost have to take one of the first round, right?
Yeah, you have to.
I haven't even looked at the draft. I don't know who the top wide receivers are. I won't look at the draft till 2 weeks before the draft, because that's just not my specialty. But yeah, I mean, I have no doubt in my mind that he will probably select a wide receiver in the first round. And it breaks my heart because we need so much more, and he's fouled at that wide receiver scouting wise. So
yeah, I just think if you're looking at Jalen Hurts to see what type of step he takes in year 2, if that is the plan, we don't know if it is, but if that is the plan, then adding another rookie wide receiver who's young and may not have experience and can go through those first season jitters probably isn't the best recipe for success.
I totally agree with you. I'm just looking at it as studying his track record and his trends as a GM. And, he doesn't draft defense. He drafts offense, and that's what he cares about. And, it sucks, but that's the way it is.
Well, I think I saw something that the Eagles haven't selected a linebacker in the first round since 1979, and they haven't selected a safety in the first round since like 1982. Yeah. So those is a pretty good
huge positions of need.
And these are huge positions of need, and the safety class is pretty good in this draft, especially at the very top. And there's some. I mean, Devin Lloyd from Utah. I know, Phil, you said you don't get into it, but there's some ridiculously good linebackers as well that are going to be sitting there right when the Eagles pick. So it's going to be interesting to see if we break that long streak as well.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not just say, like, we need safety, like you said, Jake. And Joey. We need a safety because McLeod, he's just not the same since his
Anthony Harris sucks too.
Anthony Harris. I said it before the season. He was as bad of a signing, if not worse, than Eric Wilson, and we just don't have anyone else to go to. You need an edge rusher, because obviously, you can't expect Brandon Graham to come back and save everything. Derek Barnett may or may not be here next year. So you need an edge rusher, you need a linebacker, you need a safety, you need another cornerback because Steven Nelson's not going to be back here next year. I know we have 19 corners on our team right now, but really there's only 2 of them that are worth anything at this point that we know for sure. So you need another cornerback. But yet he's going to draft a wide receiver in the first round. Mark my words. It sucks, but that's what's going to happen.
That brings up a good point that I think a lot of Eagles fans don't talk about. If you look at expiring contracts, Brandon Graham, Ryan Kerrigan, Derek Barnett, those are 3/4 of our defensive ends on the roster right now, guys. Yeah. Josh Sweat is the only defensive end.
Kerrigan's not coming back. Arnett's
that's what I'm saying.
Probably not.
That shows you how much of a position.
There are 2 great guys. You got the guy from Michigan, which is that Humphreys?
Aiden Hutchinson, yeah. He's going top 2, though.
And then you got the guy he sounds like Coach Thibodeau, the NBA coach's name.
Thibodeau.
Thibodeau.
Those guys are going 1 and 2 in the draft. And back when Miami was 1 and 7, that might have looked good.
Most teams will overvalue quarterbacks and trade up to get that first quarterback. So I'm hoping maybe 1 or 2 of those guys maybe drops to 3, 4, 5. Maybe Howie moves up to get an end, because the only defensive spot that he really values highly, is defensive end. I mean, we've seen that with, drafting Derek Barnett. So, maybe he does that. I don't know. But, yeah.
Well, that's the problem when you pigeonhole yourself to only hoping you can get a guy in the draft or only hoping this guy will be available. That's why I think he needs to be aggressive in free agency this year, in my opinion.
We're going to have, I think I heard something like $35 million in cap space with rollover and then the increase in cap. So, yeah, you could definitely get aggressive with $35 million in cap space.
Yeah, Jake, you were saying with the rollover and with the cap going up to $208.2 million, I think it is, plus what we have left over this year, that the Eagles are going to be sitting pretty. And that's not counting some of the expiring contracts or players that may not be around next year as well to free up cap space. So.
Or how we do renegotiate a contract and, roll it down the line. Maybe we end up with even more.
No, I mean, like we said, you got guys like Brooks who could be a post June 1st designation or trade or cut. You got Kelsey, who could open up to $20 million if he decides to retire with the void years on his contract. You've got a lot of loose ends there. I mean, obviously, we are hoping Kelsey stays. I know Kelsey was quoted when Sayamalo was drafted saying that they just drafted my replacement, like not immediately, but eventually. And we haven't really seen him at center. Obviously, he's hurt right now. But we certainly seen enough with Herbig to know that he's not it. Landon Dickinson has been.
But those points just prove there's another hole in the team. If Kelsey retires and you get rid of Brandon Brooks, now all of a sudden our offensive line, you have to move either Sayamalu or Dickerson to center. Then you have no right guard. Jack Driscoll injured end of the season.
I was going to say you have Driscoll. You've got assuming that he's going to be fine.
Yeah. Now you've got a hole on your offensive line. So now there's another position in need that you have to draft early in the draft.
No, well, do you? I mean, Jason Kelsey, 5th round pick. Jordan Mailata, 7th round pick.
I mean, we could also probably name some of the busts that have been taken.
Of course. But no, I mean, you can find these guys later, but certainly, you're probably looking at, in left to right, Jordan Mailata, Jack Driscoll, Isaac Sayamalu, Landon Dickerson, Lane Johnson line.
Yeah.
But then again, how good
that doesn't rule out Andre Dillard and what they do with him either.
I actually forgot about him for a second.
I never forgot. I've been thinking because
he played 7 special team snaps last week.
I've interviewed offensive linemen on shows before, and they say that it shouldn't be so hard to go from tackle to guard. To go from guard to tackle, yes, but from tackle to guard with a full off season of work, it should have been able to be maneuvered. So I would love to see Dillard stay if he could actually have some really quality time with Jeff Stoutland. If Jeff Stoutland can make Jordan Mailata, an all-pro player, he's got to be able to do something with Andre Dillard, you would think.
The only thing that concerns me about that, moving him to guard, is when Dillard was drafted, he was known as a finesse tackle, quick and good footwork, not necessarily a strong run blocking punch or heavy hands. So when you slide inside, you kind of want more of that.
Absolutely.
And look, we've heard about how he's improving every offseason, but then he gets a paper cut and he's out for 10 weeks. It's very hard.
I agree with what you're saying. I'm just trying to find a way to salvage him because now it's either cut him or trade him for a 7th round pick because he's got no value. So I'm just thinking Jeff Stoutland has got to find a way to do something with him. There's got to be a way to fix him in some way.
I mean, we've gone to him for how many miracles now, and he's produced. Yeah. So I mean, hey, Stout, here's another one.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk for a second here before everything gets wrapped up about our guy, and I'm telling you, he's going to be on here at some point. Jordan Mailata. I know you touched on with Stoutland being able to turn him into basically an all-pro left tackle, at least how he's been playing that level this year. I mean, we'll get more into it when we're interviewing him on the pod about his story and his transition into American football. But holy cow, is that just such an impressive and awesome story? And then just the fact that the Eagles are clearly embracing his hype right now, and they have him mic'd up every week. All of their social media posts are about him, but just how likable and how awesome of a guy he is. I'm fanboying right now pretty hard.
I'm waiting to see who plays him in the movie because there's going to be some movie about him at some.
There has to be.
Blindside got made. There's definitely going to be some Aussie movie made about Jordan Mailata. I want to know what actor gets some. Maybe Joey, you bulk up a little bit. Maybe you can play Jordan Mailata.
Yeah, 4 of me, maybe. That would be the case, possibly.
Oh man, you're gonna get. I don't even know who you could get out there playing him, but you get the
Rock's
Rock.
the only one remotely big enough.
You get
the Rock. The Rock is the first person that comes to mind for that.
Especially with the Australian Samoan kind of
background.
I
wasn't even thinking of that. I was just thinking a massive man.
Yeah, you ain't wrong. But extremely likable guy playing at an extremely, dare you say, elite level. I mean, there's multiple times where you're just seeing. I've talked about it plenty of times the past number of episodes where you're watching defensive ends give up on the play. Mm-hmm. They stand there hand out on his chest, but just standing there, feet firmly planted in the ground, not making any move because they're it ain't happening. He got that plant foot down. He's in good position. I'm not getting around him and I'm not going through him because unlike CBS said, he is not 6'5", 325. He is a firm 6'8", at least 380 of just a mountain of a man.
I mean, guys, if you think about it, in the city of Philadelphia, Jordan Mailata put on a football helmet for the first time in 2017. Yeah. Joel Embiid touched the basketball for the first time in 2014. Like, it's wild to see what coaching can do to somebody. Yeah. And we talk about all the time, does coaching matter? Does this, that? You want to talk about that right there? Look at the coaching of Mailata and Embiid and say that coaching doesn't matter to me ever. Those are two products right there.
Coaching matters, but so does the desire from the player to be great.
Yep.
You know, Jordan Mailata had a want to. He had a want to sit on the bench and, you know, learn and soak up as much as he could. Joel Embiid had a want to do it. He could have easily taken that money from his first round thing, you know, sat out his 2 injured years and given up and not gotten any better. He still would have gotten paid just because of his sheer size. So, you know, you got to have the want too. Jordan Mailata has the want 110%.
Couldn't agree more. Perfectly said.
Yeah. Phil, we're asking all of our guests on favorite Christmas movie and any Eagle, living or dead, to join you at your Christmas
if
party.
They're dead, why would I want them to join me?
Well,
in any time period, basically.
So you want me to? Yeah, gosh, I'm just kidding. So first off, favorite Christmas movie. It's got to be Ernest Saves Christmas, right?
Hey, look at that. That's their second Ernest Saves Christmas.
Oh, someone else said it? Damn.
Yeah.
I was thinking of what would be the most obscure, like, stupid Christmas movie.
They
someone else said it?
Stupid.
Who is it? Because they're dead.
It was Jake's mom, actually.
Who was my mom, so thanks. It was my mom and dad.
Oh, man. Well, you know, they're not dead to me then. Sorry. You know? No, realistically speaking, I eat up the old school cartoon Christmas movies, the old school Frosty the Snow, or the Snowman, you know, the old school Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, all those old school movies. It just brings me back to my childhood and watching them on rerun on my VHS.
Heat Miser and Cold Miser.
All those. I can't pick a favorite one, but they're all like 30 minutes long each. So all the old school 40s and 50s cartoon Christmas movies, they're 110%. I still watch them every time.
The old Jack Frost was always a favorite of mine.
Yeah, Frosty the Snowman was always number one to me. I don't know why. It just was, but yeah, that was definitely number one. And favorite Eagle to join your party. It depends on what kind of
Harry
party.
the Horse Morgan.
Yeah.
It's a Christmas party.
I heard that. I still don't know. Have you guys figured out who he is?
No, not yet.
My
dad might have been on a little too much eggnog when he said that, so I'm gonna have to look that up.
I don't know. Do they sort in the Eagles encyclopedia by name? What's his last name? Because I got the encyclopedia here. What was the last name?
Morgan.
Morgan. Because I got the Eagles encyclopedia here. Let's see if he's even in it. Anyway, for me, if my party was going to involve golf, I got a Dennis Morgan and I got a Mike Morgan. Mike Morgan played for LSU as a linebacker. Played from 64 to 67, and Dennis Morgan was a kick returner in 1975. They are the only two Eagles that played with the name Morgan. Yeah, so that's why you've got the Ray Diddy always on hand at any time.
Oh yeah,
you know, personally signed to me. You know.
Yeah, Dr. Diddy, he'll be on here. We were talking about we're gonna ask him about him, and Tommy McDonald was named. So we were like, oh, we'll ask Dr. Diddy when he hops on.
What is this? Anyway, sorry, I was reading comments. Someone said something about ruptured Achilles. Yeah, I don't know about that. Party, Ron Jaworski, if it involves golf. I love Ron Jaworski. He's one of my favorite players of all time. And, you know, I've interviewed him before on my show. He's an awesome guy, awesome guest, but I've played some of his golf courses and he's got great golf course. I tried to get him to play in my foursome at a charity thing back in October. And, you know, he turned me down, but I'm going to get him to play in a foursome with me at some point, just to knock a few beers back with Jaws, swing some golf clubs. That would be awesome.
Oh yeah.
But if it wasn't golf related, it's kind of stupid and all, but he's just one of my favorite Eagles of all time. And I don't know, nobody considers him their favorite, but I love him because he came from a really awkward time period after the McNabb, after the Cunningham, before the McNabb. Willie Thomas. He's my favorite Eagles linebacker of all time.
Number 51.
Number 51. You know, part of the 4th and 1 ×2. If you know you have to be a diehard to know that. And he was part of that play. love Willie Thomas. So I'd love to just have a few beers and just chill with him and just talk playing Eagles defense back in that era and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Amazing coverage linebacker and one of the most underrated linebackers of that era.
Absolutely. He was so underrated. He played on a bunch of bad Eagles teams, and that's why he didn't get enough, press for what he did and all. But I've always loved Willie Thomas, so I'd love to have a beer with Willie Thomas. Why not?
And Phil, correct me if I'm wrong. He was pretty tall for an off-ball linebacker.
Yeah, he was.
Was he like 6'3" or something, like 6'4"?
Yeah, I forget the exact height, but you're about right. 6'5", 6'6", something like that.
Yeah.
He was huge. Just go back and watch. Anybody that hasn't watched the 4th and 1, ×2 against Dallas, anybody that doesn't realize it, we stop him on 4th and 1, but the refs gave a late timeout to Jimmy Johnson or whoever was the coach at the time. They ran the same exact play, and they stopped him again. Mike Mamula was on that stop. He was on that stop. There's so many guys that get either bashed unjustifiably or get no credit in Eagles history on that defense. So that defense is actually a lot better than people think it was.
Agree.
No, it's funny. You're talking about golfing with Jaws. I did have the distinct privilege of playing around a golf with Mike Quick.
Oh,
and
wow.
He's a really fun guy. He's incredible, very good golfer. I think I beat him, but not a big deal.
I don't beat anybody when I play golf. I'm the worst golfer in the world, but I still enjoy doing it.
Oh yeah. No, but he was a ton of fun. Had a few beers on. We shared a cart and played around a golf. Lot of fun. Mike Quick, another guy we're definitely gonna have to get on.
Yeah, you got a long list of guys that you're definitely getting on here.
Yeah, definitely
getting on. You got to have the confidence.
A ton.
But for some reason you keep bringing me on. I don't get this.
The ladies love you, Phil. It's a ratings boost.
I don't know about that.
Oh yeah,
my wife would agree to that one.
We got to get that 500 subs to your YouTube so that we can.
Guys,
we can start winning
no one's buying into it. I put that post out on Twitter and we lost a subscriber. So nobody wants to see me without this. That's
oh jeez, I subbed. I'll tell you that.
Tuesday, we're counting down. We got a week to get there where this thing doesn't come off.
There we go. Well,
I'm going to sub to it. I've been slacking. I need to.
It's all right.
There we go. Well, Phil, appreciate the time. I know you had a pretty crazy night, so I appreciate you making some time for us here. Definitely want to check him and all of his comrades over at DSM Media out. They do a phenomenal job. I know he has trending in the AM.
Trending the AM Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. I got trending for 4 quarters Wednesday night. I got DFS, no punt intended, my fantasy football show Thursday nights, and my fantasy golf show, Fairway to Heaven, will be back in January, talking all things PGA and golf and stuff like that.
Excellent. Definitely want to check those out. You can make some money on those golf and fantasy ones. I can speak from, I don't know, I'm blanking on the term.
Experience.
Speak from experience?
Yeah, that's the one. That's the word.
This is a 2-hour show. You're a little tired.
Long.
When you become famous, like on WIP, how are you going to handle a 4-hour show if you're losing control of your thoughts in a 2-hour show?
You got to crawl before you can walk, Phil.
That's right. That's right.
There it is. Phil, thanks for coming on, brother.
Hey, thanks a lot for having me, guys. You guys have a great night, all right?
Thanks,
Phil. Joey, like you said, it's been a long night. It's been a fun night.
Past my bedtime, man.
No kidding. So,
but hey, shout out to everybody that called in and chatted ball with us, whether it be an orange ball, whether it be a white ball, a brown ball, or a black puck, or whatever, whenever you want to chat it about with us, we really appreciate it. We had some fun questions for favorite Christmas movie and what Eagles player you would like to join your party. Jake, before we wrap it up, I want to get your answer to that question.
Favorite Christmas movie of all time is the Heat Miser, Cold Miser? Is that Jack Frost?
I don't know if it's that or Frosty, because
no, it's not Frosty
or Rudolph,
or it's Snow Miser. What am I thinking? It's not Cold Miser. That's embarrassing. That's quite embarrassing.
It's so much your favorite that you don't know the title of it.
A Year Without Santa Claus.
Okay.
But growing up, that was always my favorite Christmas movie, A Year Without Santa Claus. I would sing all the I'm Mr. Heat Miser, I'm Mr. Sun, I'm Mr. Heat Miser, I'm Mr. 101. I could go on. And any Eagle to join my party, it's tough. There's a lot recent that I think would be really cool. And I'm probably just going to pick someone someone just current. There's so many you could go back to, but someone current that I would love. The easy answer is Gardner Minshew because he just seems like a wild man. But seeing him on social media and everything that he's doing, I think it might have been even your mom in the comments. Jason Kelsey would be just an awesome, down to earth, chill, fun guy to have at your party. If it was like an outdoor like man's day, like Fletcher Cox, he's a fisherman, he's a hunter, like that'd be cool. But just like around the table, I feel like he would just be filling up a massive plate, hugging all your relatives, telling you crazy stories, and just being an awesome guy.
I love it. That's a great answer.
What about yourself?
My mom kind of spoiled it in the comments. She went with Christmas Vacation and Jason Kelsey. That would probably be my answer. But, for the sake of something original, I'm going to go movie Just Friends. If anyone's ever seen that movie with Ryan Reynolds, it's called Just Friends. One of the most underrated comedies of our generation. Nobody ever talks about it. Check it out. Just Friends, Ryan Reynolds. And I'm going to go off the wall with this one. If I can invite someone to the party as well, I'm going to go LeGarrette Blount. I'm going to bring LeGarrette Blount to, not for the reasons you guys think or anything like that, whatever, get your mind out the gutter. But he just always seems like a cool, fun guy, always smiling. Super. He seems like one of those big teddy bear guys where you see him on the field with that black visor and he's running you over. But then afterwards, he's passing out Christmas cookies and, sipping the eggnog and having a good time. So Just Friends and LeGarrette Blount.
Oh, yeah. I like it. I love that answer. Well, Joey, it's been a fun 2 hours. Thank you again to all the people that called in. A lot of fun talking to everybody. We're going to do this every now and then. Just something we have a ton of fun interacting with everybody. I know this was like we kind of talked about it for a week or so, but we're definitely going to do some stuff where maybe even we know every third whatever of the month we'll do one, but we'll have it something set up where people can hop in and give their takes. And if you ever have a really strong take, we say it all the time, hit us up. Like hit us up in the DMs, hit us up wherever, and we would love to have you on and debate you, agree with you, argue, whatever. But we're definitely going to do this more. We can just allow everybody there 5 to 10 minutes to hop on and say their piece.
And yeah, Twitter can be therapeutic to get your thoughts out there, your opinions out there, your misery out there. It can be like a diary. But coming on here and voicing it with your own words and talking to us, and you don't even have to ask us a question. You can just say, hey, Jake, Joey, take 3 minutes and just listen to what I'm about to rant about. I got to get this off my chest. We'll allow you to come do it. It's very therapeutic. So if you got if you got an opinion, come back it up. We'd love to hear it.
Oh, yeah. Ton of fun shows. We are just filling you up this bye week with some amazing content. Another show going to be going on later this week about something. Probably take the time of the bye week to really do a more centric episode around the other sports teams in the city. But then next week, Tuesday, we are going to be joined by none other than James Seltzer. He is the producer of the midday show over on WIP. Anybody that listens knows the producers on the midday and afternoon show with him and Jack Fritz, who's also a friend of the podcast. He's been on before. They really give him a lot of airtime, allow him to really talk. And then everybody that listens to Go Birds Radio Saturdays on WIP from 1 to 3 with him and Elliott Shore Parks know him very well. But he's going to be gracing us with his presence Tuesday the 14th. And then the very next day on the 15th, we have Eitan Shander. You can find him at Shander Show, a guy that's just been doing this. He's been in this business for a while and does a really, really incredible job. So we're hoping to be able to have them both on and give them a little piece of the content that we're able to provide. And hopefully it'll help get us out there and get some more eyes and ears over on Talking 215.
Guys and girls, did you just hear that lineup card that Jake just spit out there? He didn't leave off Aniel De Los Santos. We got everybody on this lineup card coming out, guys. So you're going to want to tune in. And Jake, before we go, I do have some breaking news. It was actually Harry the Horse Wilson, not Morgan.
Harry the Horse Wilson. Let's
breaking news. My sources text me and let me know.
Harry the Horse Wilson.
Late 60s.
Oh, man. A lacrosse player as well. National Lacrosse Hall of Fame inductee, 1963. Went to West Point. 12 varsity letterman at West Point. Man. And he went to Penn State. This guy, running back,
well decorated.
Penn State Military Academy. This guy did it all. I bet he would be a party animal.
Sounds like it, right?
No kidding. No kidding. So that's awesome. Harry the Horse Wilson. There he is. Danny said he stayed for the horse reveal. It makes sense. So did we.
I mean, this is the type of content we bring you guys, okay? All right? I guarantee you no other podcast is talking about Harry the Horse Wilson. You get it here first.
Exactly. Well, I know we have plenty of episodes before then, but Merry Christmas, Joey. Merry Christmas to all of y'all. And that's about it.
We'll see you next time. Thanks for all the guests that called in. We appreciate it, guys.
HELL space YEA.